What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I hope you had a relaxing weekend. I know I was doing all sorts of boomer stuff, like cleaning out my garage and sweeping it out and getting winter stuff out and starting to put some summer stuff away, which is what you do here in the Midwest, where we have 4 distinct seasons. But I do want to just renew my thanks to all of you for being here. Now, last week I was covering the situation at Arizona State University, and a lot has developed over the weekend. If you don't remember, there was a multicultural center, which really the only way you can describe it is saying non-whites. Whites not allowed. White people not allowed. And it feels even creepy to just talk like that. But this is what's happening on college campuses. They're bringing back segregation. They're so progressive. They're bringing back segregation. Now, in the video, you could see a room that is enormous in size. Probably had somewhere around 50 different independent study spots, of which 4 were being used. At one point, a woman whom I'm going to reveal to you later, who has an interesting past, confronts 2 young men over their use of their multicultural space and call them awful. Kicking them out. Now, I talked to the one of the gentlemen at length, and there is some speculation of whether or not this was a troll. Now, he denied it to me. He said that he wears that "I didn't vote for Biden" shirt all the time, and that this was not an intentional troll. The Chick-fil-A mugs were a odd coincidence because they tried going to one restaurant and they were very busy, so they went to another one and it ended up being Chick-fil-A. Maybe that's all true. Maybe it's not. Doesn't matter. Because what happened, regardless of even if this was intentional to bait them, is not okay. There's this difference where we look at society and we say something like, wow, here's a person who says something really awful and they got the back of someone's hand. I may understand why they did, but it doesn't make it okay. Let's say somebody just calls somebody, some crazy person dropping the N-word on a black individual who, and they're using it in a derogatory manner and they get cracked. You can look at a situation like that and say, yeah, I understand why, but again, it still doesn't make it right. I mean, are we at the point where I need to remind people that 2 wrongs don't make a right? But what was interesting about the reveal is the university has responded and gotten absolutely destroyed. A GoFundMe was launched. And there were a lot of criticisms about this too, saying, hey, look, okay, it was a funny meme, but do we need to make everybody rich? Even I was kind of like, I'll throw a few bucks in there, but it's not like these, we can't, be doing GoFundMes for everybody all the time. They ended up getting an offer of 2 free laptops, thanks to Meta PCs. By the way, promo code The Quartering for Meta PCs, if you want to save money when you buy one there. And I think that was cool. I was happy to provide that connection, and I was able to make that connection over the weekend. But the real interesting thing is the way that the media has spun this. Normally, I actually think that there's been a small change because the pushback to this nonsense is actually getting better. I did a live stream over the weekend. By the way, if you're enjoying my content, please do leave a like on the video. And if you haven't yet, there's a red subscribe button down below. I know it's a pain sometimes to do, but I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe. Now, I talked to some people over the weekend while I was live streaming. A lot of people are kind of black-pilled on all of this, really negative, thinking, look, we've got to lower ourselves to their level. And I understand why people feel that way. I'm trying to resist that temptation because of stuff like this. The university puts out this hilarious double-down statement. Excuse me. Calling it a disagreement. Here's our statement regarding the viral video that captured a disagreement between students on campus. I would argue that at the very least, this was an obvious like bullying situation. This was not a disagreement. This was segregation on the college campus that just needs to not exist. But look at this, okay? Look at this and feel some hope. 200 likes. That's all it got. Compared to 2,600 comments. We're going to take a look at some of the comments. The Dean of Students Office is aware of a disagreement between a handful of students that was captured in video that circulated on social media. The Dean of Students Office will be discussing with all involved. ASU is a community of more than 100,000 people from 50 states and 150 countries. Differences of opinion are part of the university experience. The university expects respectful dialogue between students in all engagements. Well, this was not, it was probably, it wasn't out of control. There was no screaming in people's faces. So, you could argue that, it was somewhat respectful, even if the things that were being said by one part of the group were insane. By the way, I'm going to reveal to you just who one of these individuals is. It turns out they're not just a student. Just hold on. I've got a few things to talk about here. So here's their reply. So we look at their tweet. Here's our statement regarding the viral video that captured a disagreement between our students. Top reply. Now they had 200 likes. Here's my reply. 2,800 likes. Swap the colors of each side of this quote-unquote disagreement and tell me you wouldn't be calling it something else. This is tax dollar funded racism. And I stand by that statement 100%. That's exactly what this is. You want to know why people are so politically divided in this country is because it's starting at the very earliest levels. We have the Libs of TikTok Twitter account exposing a lot of these teachers and stuff like that who are starting a lot of this rhetoric, this divisive language at a very young age. You want to know why something like a poke in the arm has become such a hot button political issue. This is all part of that. This is why, every little thing down to the sub sandwiches that you eat, the place that you get your fried chicken from, this is a political statement nowadays, and it's really a rough spot to be. And I would invite my viewers and listeners, because I know a lot of people just listen to my videos. I don't know why you would deprive yourself of my beautiful face, to decouple from that a little bit. I understand not wanting to support a company that, I don't know, hates America or something like that. There are several of them. Ben & Jerry's would be a good example. There are plenty of other options to choose in expensive ice cream. But at some point, if you really, I talk about this in video games too, like, man, Blizzard has done some really terrible things, but I really enjoy World of Warcraft. It's like my only thing, and I feel like a piece of garbage for playing it. You shouldn't. Life is short. You should be able to enjoy what you want to enjoy, and you don't owe anyone an apology for that. You can see it was 2 students being harassed because of the color of their skin. I'm embarrassed and sad that this is what my school is known for. 1.9 thousand likes. Who the heck wrote this? This was not a disagreement. It was a video showing 2 students being harassed and bullied to leave an area. You can see here 300 likes. There was racial discrimination on campus in a space that is being prepared to be a multicultural space. It was led by a group of students who thought they had a blank check to harass other students based on skin tone of the belief. This went far beyond a disagreement. Now, who exactly is that student? Well, Chase had issued, by the way, a comment which I shared on Twitter. Very, I don't know, weak, but I understand. There's one camp of people that say, like, we got to fight and die on every hill because that's why they're beating us, and they have a valid argument. But also, this kid's just trying to get through college. And maybe, his parents are working hard to help him out. He's working hard. He doesn't want to become like some martyr for the culture war to get chewed up and spit out in 15 minutes. He wants to, so I understand why he might have wrote this statement. I didn't agree with it, but it's not my life. There are other commentators out there, who there's no amount of suffering that they are willing to allow other people to go through for their cause. I'm just not one of those people. But interestingly enough, that chick from the ASU video who went viral, she wasn't even an undergrad. She was a Ford fellow, because of course she was. This via Chris, at Chris Carl, I believe his name is. If you were online yesterday, you saw a 2-minute clip of a woman freaking out in an ASU campus. It was covered by Tucker Carlson, Newsweek, The Post Millennial, EJMR, and received untold millions of views. We already know how it happened, right? Okay. Now, my first reaction upon seeing the ASU video was to shrug it off. Another immature, overzealous, brainwashed 18-year-old freshman who's pretending woke buzzword gumbo, parroting. Yawn, just a kid. I was ready to leave it alone. She's much too dumb to be held responsible for her actions, and besides, she was probably stressed out over exam or boys or something. Alas, the Twitter mob was not willing to leave it alone. They exposed her as Sarah Tocola, PhD student in sustainability. I don't know what you're going to do with that degree, but anyway, I was shocked and horrified to learn that she was, in fact, already a grown-up. Judging by her LinkedIn profile page, she is pushing nearly 30 and therefore ostensibly possesses a fully developed frontal cortex. It was all of a sudden punching sideways, not punching down. Her LinkedIn also reveals an interesting link to the Ford Foundation. Yes, Sarah is a 40. When I discovered this, I had no choice but to write a new Substack article. It was just too perfect. For context, see my article from 2 days ago where I spent 3,500 words ranting about the cancerous impact of 40s on society. The article that you're reading now is a 700-word cherry on top of that. This ASU incident is a perfect microcosm of how the Ford Foundation is a bullying society. This is how they operate. This notion of classical liberalism in academia is dead, and the Ford Foundation killed it. How did the ASU administration react to the video going viral? With a mealy-mouthed press release, of course. I read this as ASU not taking sides until the whole thing blows over and hopefully goes away on its own. Typical bureaucratic cowardice. How many deans do you think it took to write this statement? It was such a softball, just condemn segregation, and yet somehow they managed to butcher it completely. For this difference in opinions, ASU was savagely ratioed on Twitter, receiving 1,900 comments and a paltry 139 likes. I cannot wait to see how they react next. Surely they will only dig the hole deeper, twisting themselves into knots trying to explain why it's okay for one racial group to act like this and not the other. Why don't rules apply to certain folks? The Ford Foundation enables and funds this kind of crap. Their core mission is to ensure that every nook and cranny of the formal education and academic apparatus is infested with it. If ASU is like this, imagine what liberal arts colleges of the Berkeleys of the world are like. It won't stop until the next GOP president uses the tax code to crush this not-for-profit behemoth. This is the same conclusion as my first article. Tax these foundations. This woman was 30 years old, not just some kid. Absolutely pathetic behavior. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.